Hey everybody, this is Rapping Sports with Jax from the J to the A to the X and X.com. How we doing out there today? Baseball, spring training's ready to go. We're gonna have some exhibition games, and I think there's gonna be fans, and I think baseball's looking up, and I'm happy, and we're gonna talk about the Cubs. Yes, very excited to see baseball getting ready to go. Just can't wait. So far, so good. It looks like the season's gonna go on time. I believe most teams will have fans to start the year off, and I guess we'll see how it goes, and we'll take it from there. But it's good to go. But Cubs made some interesting moves and some interesting players, beside the ones that they already didn't have, ones that they picked up. And I'm going to talk about a couple of them, see how it goes. Like they just picked up Strope. Now, Strope is obviously a Cub, and we're familiar with him. He had a good beginning part of his career. He finally worked his way up to closer, and when he finally got up to that, then he started having injury problems, and from that point, he was inconsistent for a couple of years. So he didn't end up with the Cubs last year. He ended up going to Cincinnati. Not even sure what he did record-wise in Cincinnati, but with the Cubs, we know he can do. He looks like he's in fine condition coming in, so I'd like to be curious to see how he will do. Hopefully, he's over the injuries, because when he wasn't injured, he was actually a pretty good pitcher. Now, one pitcher that kind of slipped me as a Cub on the radar is Workman. I forgot the Cubs had picked him up, or they got him. I forgot all about that. And he's an interesting pitcher because my wife, being a Red Sox fan, I actually get to see Red Sox games, so I watch a game from time to time. And he was in there, and he was always a pretty good setup man, pretty consistent over the years. He's in his 30s now, but still, I kind of like him as this guy can be a sneaky guy that can help out with the combination of the Wicks and a couple other people in Kimbrel that we have. So they're running some people up in here trying to find a nice relief pitching crew. So we'll see. I like what they're doing though. Why not? These are players that are looking probably for their late contracts to see if they can get bigger contracts before their careers end. Not that they're all that old, but you know what I mean, baseball old. So we'll see how it goes from here. Cubs also picked up Arrieta, which is another one of the older pitchers trying to prove himself. He was obviously a Cub before that, we all remember. And he did a lot of his best pitching off this mound for Chicago. And I think it has something to do with the mound. Of course, he's a little older now, and you don't know if you're going to get that same spark, but we'll see. I just find it a little suspicious that they signed him and didn't sign Lester. So his workout must have been really impressive, but he really didn't play that great for Philly at all. When he was in there, he didn't do good, and then he had little injury bugaboos, so we'll see how that goes. And it's kind of strange, too, that they let the pitcher there go. They let Darvish go, and then they end up signing him because that it was the other way around. But Darvish, obviously, a great pitcher, and I'm surprised the Cubs did that. That could be something that's very puzzling and is going to make me wonder. But I guess at some point, if you wanted to sign the other five players, you had to dump a contract, and that was a contract they chose to pick. And we'll see how that works out in the long run. But I'm curious to see what Arrieta does. And the Cubs are going to have really a brand, other than Hendricks. I mean, you got Zach Davis in there, which is pretty good. Two slow ball, curveball, slider pitchers that don't throw with power in the Cubs lineup, which is okay. They both had good careers. Arrieta is going to be very curious to see what he does. Maybe he can slot himself third. You got Mills in there now looking to prove that he can maybe stick with this team. I know he pitched the no-hitter last year. That was pretty good. It looked like he was coming to his own. But he's never really stuck with it and showed what he can do. But maybe it's time now. Maybe he's at that age when it's time for him to start pitching, and if he wants to be in the baseball a long time, he definitely has his chance here. But he's kind of curious, and there'll be other people battling for the job, but I think those are going to be the top four, and then we'll see what happens. They got Williams. I like that. That could be another sneaky pick. He used to be pretty good for Pittsburgh back in the day, and then he's kind of had subpar years, so maybe he can be revitalized in Cubs. And Cubs are looking for a lot of revitalization projects. Not saying that any of them that work. If two of them work, it would obviously make the Cubs a better team. and we'll see how that goes. And obviously now I think Horner is going to get a chance to play second a little bit more. We'll see how it goes from there. And then you got Jock Peterson obviously added to the lineup. He's going to be very interesting to see what's going on. He's obviously in place of Schwarber, but I guess the one thing that the Cub owner didn't like too much was the strikeouts. And then you used to have Baez, which struck out quite a bit last year, and Schwarber. So it seemed like the Cubs were hit the homer, strike out. And I think he's trying to change the team a little bit. I don't know if this necessarily does that, but I guess we're going to find out. They also picked up Maven, another player that came on the Cubs last year for about a cup of coffee, never really got to play. But he's got a minor league contract. He's going to make the major leagues, though. Cubs don't sign him if he's not going to be there, and they're just looking for the cheap contract. And I think he's going to do okay, and be interesting to see. He can come off the bench. He's going to be the fourth or fifth outfielder when they need him, so that's going to be nice for the Cubs. And it's going to be interesting. I think the Cubs' everyday lineup is still pretty good. You still got Rizzo, haven't signed him. Still got Baez, haven't signed him. Still got, I don't have to go through it all, but the Cubs are going to sign at least three to four of the guys to nice contracts. I'll be shocked if Baez not there, unless Baez really has an awful year, or any of these guys have an awful year. Contreras, to me, is one of the best catchers in baseball. I hate to see him go, but I don't know how they can sign him, and I can understand you tweaking a little bit the team because it's been a while since they won a World Series. In the last couple of years, they've had short playoff runs, so I can understand them wanting to tweak the team. Maybe you lower the payroll, you see what you have, and then you can kind of readjust from that point on, because the Cubs pitching staff isn't exactly young. So at some point, you're going to have to start working on that. So we'll see how it goes, but I still think the Cubs, I think Milwaukee and Pittsburgh clearly have dropped off. Pittsburgh definitely is in a rebuilding mode. Milwaukee's lost a couple of players. Cincinnati lost a couple of pitchers, so they're not going to be the same team. St. Louis did pick up Arenado, but still, same pitching staff. Cubs can probably match that, and they can match the hitting, so that's going to be interesting. So Cubs have a chance to still, even with the cut payroll, they can win the division. And if he decides that he wants to spend a little money late to maybe pick up that player to get you over the hump, if you need it, there's always somebody out there. There's always somebody dumping contracts. You just have to be aware. So if the Cubs are up and still in it up to that point, and they might even add playoff spot, who knows? They're still negotiating whether they should keep the DH, have the playoff spots, but we'll see how that ends up by the end of the year. So Cubs are going to be more than competitive. I believe they have a chance to still win the division, especially if Davies, he's a decent pitcher. I mean, I can see him being 15-10, and I can see Hendricks doing the same thing. So now you just got to see what the bottom three, somebody out of that bunch, maybe two would be nice, would have to come up, and we'll see how that goes. But anyway, just a quick talk on the Cubs. Looking forward to the season. I'll be talking about the Cubs throughout the year, probably every couple of weeks. This is Rapping Sports with Jax, from the J to the A to the X at X.com. Go over to the website, check it out. Hey, please throw me a like. That would help me out big time. Any kind of comments, throw down there. I can take abuse. I'm ready for everything. Just bring it all out. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.